packet over.
Yeah, so it makes it less distracting.
Yeah, I have worn it before. I've got two. So one of the reasons why I use these is because I use ones that I've got two of, because then I keep one already sort of pressed lined in there, and just in case something happens during the break, then I've got one.
Nice.
So you know we are going live, so we got less than 5 minutes before we come to you guys.
Okay, that is fine.
My palms are sweaty.
I'm looking for the timer. It's gonna bug the life out of me because I just look at the clock.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and now I get a phone call. Seriously, I get a phone call right now.
Is it from anybody important?
Yes.
Oh. Honey, don't you know that I'm doing?
Oh, it's
this?
not. Yeah.
Oh. Stand by. Don't mess it up.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Just remember, it's me. You're going to be relaxed.
Yes.
Oh, my watch has just flopped open as well, just to really, really, really make things worse. You will be fine. We're just having a chat.
Exactly.
All right? Nothing more than that. We're just having a chat.
Yeah. Oh. Here we go.
I'm waiting for some titles. They're still talking. I can see over there, actually. It's quite nice.
Oh, yeah. That's convenient.
I saw Don putting his makeup on.
Yeah. I haven't seen him put makeup on since
Mike
he had a zit.
Mike's put his makeup on. Yeah, I've seen Mike with makeup on. I've seen Don with makeup on now. Zach.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's going to be Wes and Justin and Ronnie soon. They're not going to get away with it.
Daniel will be the last one, if anything.
You're right there.
Yeah.
Overcoming challenges. Overcoming challenges. When is that?
No.
Wednesday? Oh, I guess we're doing interview skills. Oh, yeah. Because I thought mine was... Right. We've got 30-odd slides. So I'm going to rush through some of them really, really quickly.
Okay.
All right. But you'll notice that the slide deck's completely different to how it was.
Oh, okay.
Is the Apple TV on, Titus? Can you show it to me? Perfect. Yeah. Thank you.
Beautiful.
You know my audio check?
Check, check. 1, 2, 3. Hello and welcome to the first ever live week. And today is our first time doing this ever.
Yeah. It is Tuesday. What date is it?
Today's Monday.
The 17th.
Today's Monday.
Monday, even the 17th.
Yeah.
We can hear too much coming from the command center. It's very loud in here, Titus.
I know. We got to hear it until.
Okay. It's just I don't want any feedback. It's going to be really distracting if I can hear myself.
The microphones won't be able to pick that up.
No, but I'll be able to hear it. It's going to be really distracting if we can hear ourselves.
Yeah.
That's going to be incredibly distracting.
Gotcha. Yeah, that would be distracting. My nails grow really fast.
I love your nails. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I loved your nails. They're really great.
I just cut the tips off.
I still can't believe you did that yourself.
It's not that bad.
All right, stand by.
Okie dokie.
Said stand.
Welcome to ITProTV. I'm your host, Don.
Coming at you live from San Francisco, California.
You're watching ITProTV.
Hello, and welcome to the very first segment here at Live Week, at the very first Live Week here at ITProTV. Today's theme is IT Wants You, and in this segment, we're going to be talking about the power of diversity. I am Aubrey Spurgeon, and I'm joined by Jo.Peacock, who has done some research on diversity in the workplace, and she's going to be talking about a lot of stuff today when it comes to diversity. We're going to have a conversation, and please be sure to send in your questions via Twitter, Facebook, or the chat under the video right there, and I'll be sure to keep a tab on them, and we will get those answered for you by the end. But for now, here's Jo. How's it going, Jo?
Absolutely great. Thank you, Aubrey. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I am excited. This is a fun topic. I like talking about diversity.
Well, and it's funny, actually, because we did have a little chat just before we came in here. I know that Aubrey was streaming live on Facebook Live.
Yes.
And just before that, we had a little chat about power and what the word power means. And so I've got Aubrey to share something with you in a little bit.
Okay.
Because I just think, it was such a great thing that she told me. And it was literally just a couple of seconds long. But yes, welcome to our very, very first session here at Live Week here at ITProTV. And it's absolutely great to be here. So I hope that you're having a great day so far. We are going to be talking about diversity, or more importantly, the power of diversity in this particular segment. So I'm just going to jump straight in. Now, you all know me. I do like a PowerPoint. Actually, no, I don't. I can't stand PowerPoint. Should I say that? Will Microsoft come after me?
It's
No.
too late. No.
Yeah. I don't like it, but you know what? We're going to jump straight in anyway, because I've prepared some slides just so that we can talk about diversity and what diversity means to your organization, and actually what the power of diversity is and how success is in your organization. What do we mean by diversity, first of all? It's that first statement, the characteristics, the experiences, and the qualities that make every individual unique. No two of us on this planet are the same. We might look alike. We might have siblings. You know, we may look very, very similar, but no two people are the same.
Right.
So when we talk about diversity, we talk about diversity in our occupation, you know, what we've done in the past, for instance, our military veterans, well, you know, what they have done in the past and the skills that brings to your organization. We'll talk about diverse skills. And in fact, we've actually got a segment a little bit later on this afternoon, in a couple of hours. Von and I are going to be looking at the diversity of skills within the tech industry. And then we've got diversity in personality traits. We're all completely different there, and Aubrey will definitely attest to
Jo
that.
and I, I'd say our personalities are very different.
Yeah.
We get along very well, though. Yeah.
But completely different, nevertheless. Yeah, but we're both Geminis.
That must be it.
Yeah, you know, with Geminis, we either love each other or we hate each other. You know that, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, we've got diversity in values and attitudes too, how our attitudes are different. So when we take a look at, we've talked about what is diversity, and there's a quick explanation there on, you know, what we mean by diversity, but I want to look at the facets of diversity. Now, this is something that you have come across before. When we talk about a diverse organization, what do we mean? We mean an organization that has a spread, lots of different ages, lots of different ethnicities. We want different genders. We want different physical abilities, different qualities, different natural abilities. I'm going to let you into a little secret now. One of my favorite natural abilities that Aubrey has is the fact that Aubrey is an absolute awesome baker.
That counts as a natural ability?
Well, I don't know. You're better than me. I've been tried it for years and I can't get it right. So it seems to me to be a natural ability, because it doesn't matter how much practice there is, you are great at it.
Well, thank you.
And then we also talk about diversity with disabilities as well. You know, there are lots of people with both physical and mental disabilities that actually have a lot to offer to us in the workplace. And their experiences can be absolutely amazing for our organization. We also talk about diversity in race and, you know, different, not just different cultures, but also sort of who we are, what we look like, how sometimes we are judged on just our appearances. And then diversity in terms of sexual orientation. So I've got a little bit of a, it's not a game really, but I've got some props. In case you hadn't noticed, we've got some flags here. Yeah, there. And I'm just going to hope that this doesn't fall over at this point in time, because I want to challenge Aubrey now. I want you to pick some flags out that have some meaning to you.
Okay.
And I want you to tell me and tell everybody really what those flags are and why they have meaning to you, and specifically what they mean to you.
Okay. So I'm grabbing
She's gotten quite a few.
Puerto Rican flag, a Kenyan flag, or Norwegian flag. I'm going to grab the American one.
Oh, yeah, but then I can't have that. That's
I'll
not
give
fair.
it back. I'll give
All
it
right,
back.
okay.
And we have the Spanish flag. Oh, one more. Sorry. Russian flag. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's a lot.
It is.
Yeah.
So tell me about those flags. Why did you pick those flags?
Okay.
What do they mean to you?
So, you know how 23andMe, the people do their genealogy and
Yeah.
they figure out like they're like 1% something? Well, apparently I am a very tiny bit Russian, like
Ooh.
way back in my history. So with that information, when I was a kid, I told myself that I am going to learn Russian. So all throughout my college years, I studied Russian studies. It was what I minored in, and I studied the Russian language. And so if any Russians out there are watching, здравствуйте.
I don't know what she said. I just hope that it wasn't insulting.
It is not. I just
good.
said hello.
All right.
And then we have the Spanish flag. In my family, on my mother's side, we have Spaniards, but we are mainly Puerto Rican. But Spaniards came to Puerto Rico, and that's how we got to Puerto Rico, and then we came to the U.S. But it means a lot to me, the Puerto Rican flag, and then Spanish flag ties into it, is that I grew up hearing Spanish all my life, and my culture and my experiences involve a lot of Hispanic aspects. And so I didn't even realize that some of the words I was saying growing up were Spanish. I thought they were English. And when I went to school, I would say things like agua and bacalao, and people would be like, what do you mean? And like, don't you know? It's, that thing over there. And then you're like, that's water. Like, oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I knew that. You didn't know that? So it's funny little things like that. And along with the Kenyan flag, that would also happen, where I'd have some Kikuyu words, and that would also happen. But growing up, my shosho, also Kikuyu, my grandmother, she would tell me that we are from Kenya, that we are Maasai, which is a tribe there, pretty well-known one, I believe. And the Maasai are warriors. They take care of their people, and they fight off lions, literally fight off lions. The men usually, but the women were still warriors. And then we got two more flags here. I'm afraid this is going to topple over. We have the Norwegian flag and the American flag. American flag, obviously, because I am American. I was born in America. My family came to this country because they had the American dream in mind, and they wanted to live a life that was meaningful and didn't have any constraints. Like a lot of countries, they kind of hold you back, and you can't be yourself. And so the American dream, that's why my family came to America. And lastly, we have the Norwegian flag. That's a random one, honestly. But I studied abroad in Norway for a year, and a lot of things have made me who I am in Norway. I grew an appreciation for wine.
That's never a bad thing.
It's
right?
not, yeah. But I definitely grew an appreciation for wine because you could drink younger there. And I learned the Norwegian language. I learned about the culture. I have a lot of people there that I see as my family. And so all of these flags, they kind of make up my family, really. Yeah.
And they represent
who I am and who I have become and who I will be, probably.
Excellent.
Yeah. So what about you? What flags represent you?
Well, I kind of feel really dull, to be
No.
perfectly honest, because I've got to pick this one up. Okay, I have to.
Yes.
Because obviously the accent gives that away. So these are my roots.
Right.
This is me. This is, I guess, who I am. I think that's one way of putting it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my roots. Then obviously this one, because I think this also represents who I am as well, which is obviously a pride flag. And then I have here, also I have the Canadian flag. Because this is actually this is where my daughter has called her adopted home.
Oh.
She lives in Toronto, and so there's always a little piece of me in Canada, no matter where in the world I am. And then, of course, I did want the US flag as well, because this is my adopted home. Can we share it?
We can share.
What, how about we put it in the middle of the table?
Okay.
Then? We need a stand in here, don't we?
That's okay.
Because this is my adopted home. And
Right.
so to me, all of these flags mean something. But more importantly, to me, all of these flags have molded who I am. And all of these flags have given me skills and characteristics and traits that make me unique. For instance, I'm British. If you want to, we have a reputation in England for being polite. That's okay, as long as you ensure that when you ask somebody in England their opinion, they're probably going to give it to you. So you're prepared for that. We will be polite about it, but at the same time, we're going to tell you exactly what we think. You know, we're very straightforward. I wouldn't say that we were a negative bunch of people, but we're incredibly straightforward. We're pretty pragmatic when it comes to that. And of course, you know, having a pride flag there, well, let's just say that, you know, all of us who can relate to that particular flag will tell you of trials and tribulations and tests that they have had to go through as a result of being who they are. So every single one of these flags just makes you a little bit of who you are. And that's why I really wanted you to do this, because I wanted to show to everybody, you know, that who you are is part of your diversity. And it's that ensures that you can bring these unique skills, these unique character traits to your organization. For instance, people who have served in the military, well, they have been through certain trials, certain, you know, events that other people that have not been through the military haven't. I was brought up in a military family. Both of my parents were military. I can tell you now that my parents taught me an amazing attention to detail. Vaughn calls it OCD, and that's okay. But I like to make sure that everything is in its place, and that's what coming from that environment has taught me. And isn't that an amazing trait to bring to an organization?
It definitely is.
Yeah, that precision that you need.
I definitely like having a coworker that is like that, so it is good to have that in the workplace.
I appreciate that as well,
yes,
which is, So let's take a look at some stats then that I've got for you. And some of these stats, I'm going to be honest with you, they're going to frighten you. So let's take a look at them now, shall we? Did you know, they're on the screen in front of you, hopefully. There we go. Did you know that 41% of women who left their jobs last year, this is in 2018, cited a hostile work environment?
Oh, wow.
41% of people.
That's almost half.
I read a quote earlier on today, actually, and it was something along the lines, and I wish I could remember it now, it's something along the lines of people don't leave a job. They leave a work environment. They leave a toxic work environment. There's something about that work environment that they didn't like. 41% of people, that seems quite high, doesn't it?
It does seem really high.
It really does.
Yeah.
Did you know that in the tech industry alone, that men outnumber women 4-1?
I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, that one's a fairly obvious one.
Yeah.
I'm glad to say that we don't have that in our particular organization, in ITProTV.
But here. Yeah.
So I've got another one here. 76,418. That's the number of workplace discrimination cases that were brought in the US in 2018.
And that's in any field.
That's in any field.
Okay, yeah, that's a lot.
It still seems like a huge number.
Yeah,
it seems like a massive number. So what is this one then? 17% then in 2018 of computer science grads were women. Oh, sorry, in 2000. Yeah, I did say 2018, didn't I?
You got it, yeah.
That seems like a low amount. But what's even more worrying is the statistic underneath it. And you'll see that that's dropped from 35% in 1985. So what is it that we are doing in the tech industry? What are we doing that is not bringing more diversity in terms of gender into our particular work environment, into our industry? You know, one of our partners, CompTIA, says that, and these are proven statistics, a 1% move towards diversity leads to a 3-point increase in revenue. Companies that are in that top quarter for diversity are more likely to surpass industry norms. And in fact, I've got more statistics that are going to back this up and really what diversity can bring to us. But, you know, organizations now are realizing this more and more, that we need to embrace diversity, that we don't want robots, we don't want clones. We need people that are unique, that have unique characteristics, that have unique traits, that have unique backgrounds, because they can all work together and create a more engaging team, but also a more productive team too. I've got some more statistics.
Right. With unique backgrounds, it allows for many different perspectives, and that allows for a better work environment and better ideas coming out of the work environment.
And that's exactly what we want.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really, really do want those ideas. You know, everybody works in a different way. And if we think about where we are in the US, you see, everybody in the US is taught in exactly the same way. So everybody in the US will have, unless they've done further research, a certain perspective that has been taught to them throughout their schooling. And it's by bringing people in that have not been through the US education, that have been through other education systems, like the Indian education system, or look at me, the British education system, that you see that different sciences and different subjects are taught in completely different ways. Now, okay, it brings some fun, let's face it, because I know for a fact that we have a bit of fun, don't we?
Oh, we do. We do like to tease our Joe.
Yeah, right. I mean, sometimes, and in the office, I'm going to admit, it's pick on Joe month. I'm not too sure. I don't know. I had this conversation with Vaughn just earlier on this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're carrying on from last week again. And apparently, they don't know how to spell. This is just,
Are you talking about the Z's and the S's again?
Those Z's.
Do you mean the Z's?
Yeah, and the U's. Yeah. Having that diversity, though, I mean, it allows us to build up rapport. And even though this may be something that, I understand for the most part, how these guys spell. But nevertheless, it may be something that is important to the organization to get that. Well, those different perspectives in. It has to be important to your organization. If you want to succeed, you have to get those different perspectives in. As you said, you mentioned creation, you mentioned ideas, and you just had an ooh moment
I had
as
an
well.
Moment. Yeah.
Go on.
Something I remembered that, so oftentimes we like to throw a peace sign here in America.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes we like to do the peace sign backwards and we don't think anything of it. But with Jo here, she reminded us that maybe we shouldn't do that on our live feed because we might be offending some people, or any feed really, because we might be offending some people. Tell us a little bit about that, Jo. Yeah.
Well, I think
you know.
Right. Some of the hand signals that we use in the States can be a little bit different.
Yeah.
There's a hand signal for okay that wouldn't go down too well in Italy. There's when you count, I've heard people go one, and no, two. That's the way we do two.
Yeah.
That means peace as well. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, please don't do it the other way. Not if you want to offend everybody in the UK. Now, if you deliberately want to offend everybody in the UK, I've just told you how to. But, we don't want to do that. But yet, it's not just about the way that we act within the office. It's also about the words that we use, the spelling that we have. There are a lot of words that we use that are completely different to each other. And we use the same word, but it has two completely different meanings. The word revise, for instance. Now, if I told somebody in the UK to go away and revise, they'd go away and study.
Oh, that's not what I was thinking.
Right, okay. If I tell you to go away and revise something, you're going to go and rewrite it,
I'm going to go edit it and make it better. That's what I would think.
Yeah, so we've got differences in just, everybody thinks that, in the US and in the UK that we're exactly the same, but we've got differences too.
We do.
We have that diversity. So I've got some more statistics that I just want to go through here. Did you know that 51% of millennials, that's people aged up to 34, between 18 and 34, will prefer to buy from a company that publicly promotes diversity? Not just that accepts it, but that actually promotes diversity, that has diversity issues, that are diversity initiatives, that are public, that actually want to promote it.
It's June, which is Pride Month here in the U.S., and I am a millennial, and I must say, when I get emails and they change their logo to be like the Pride flag, I think maybe I will buy something from them this month because it pleases me. It makes me happy that, wow, they're really showing that they support people who are having a tough time.
Yeah, and it really does make a difference, when I see initiatives that happen in February. I think it's African American History Month, isn't it? In
February?
February,
Yes.
In the US. And I see initiatives that go on there that are actually promoting diversity, and I really like this. I've been into organizations, as you know, I do a lot of consultancy, and I've been into organizations where they have different initiatives at different times of the year and at different sort of months as well. So organizations that will encourage people to bring in snacks for Diwali in November, for instance, and organizations that celebrate Eid, celebrating sort of the cultural and religious differences as well. And those organizations, well, as you can see, 51% of millennials will shop. They will prefer to buy from a company that publicly promotes diversity. And it's not just about a pride flag. It's not just about sort of, promoting African American History Month.
Right.
It's also about diversity in, as we've seen, the other facets in age and in gender as well. All of the other facets that we've talked about. Just think about what that can do to your company for a moment. We've got 1.5 times here. That means US customers are actually 1.5 times more likely to buy a product that's advertised by what they perceive to be a minority group, whatever that minority group might be. And you see, I've cited all of the sources, by the way, on the bottom of these slides. So you can see that these are current sources. These are not just sources that, not just stats that we've made up. Like Aubrey said, I've actually done quite a bit of research on this.
Yes, she did.
And I did make sure that we had the most recent stats. And take a look at these. These are 2018 statistics. The African American buying power, this is concentrated in the US, is $1.2 trillion. The LGBT buying power in the US is in excess of $917 billion. Buying power for people with disabilities is $490 billion. That's a huge amount of potential customers for you if you can demonstrate that diversity. So I've got some more statistics here, because my question really is what about in organizations? What about when you are trying to recruit people? Well, let's take a look at this one then. 67% of candidates that are looking to move to a workplace will cite a diverse workforce as an important factor when choosing an organization to apply to. 67% of people. That's actually way over just a majority. It's not just 51%. That's 67. That's quite a lot. I've got another one here. 45% of execs state that diverse talent has left their organization because they didn't feel included.
Wow.
So that's 45% of execs that recognize that their people did not feel included. So my question to them is, so what have you done about it? What have you actually done about it? And then what have we got here? 27%, only 27% of execs actually believe that their organization is, effective at embracing diversity, at embracing cultural differences. It's not very high. And again, my question to you has got to be, so what are you going to do about it? Because we're talking about executive level. And if you don't feel that your organization is embracing diversity, if you don't feel that you are opening yourself up to all of those potential customer bases, then what are you doing about it? Because that's a shockingly low number. I've got another one here. 57% employees believe that their company should be doing more to increase diversity. 57%. So what about small, medium enterprises? Because I hear a lot of people that say to me, this is absolutely fantastic for large organizations, but we're in a small organization. So I've got some statistics for you as well. Small organizations that have had female founding partners even have got a 30% increase in long-term returns over those with male.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Some of these statistics, you look at them and you think, is that true?
It's that
but
powerful.
Look, this has come from Cornell University. This has come from the US Department of Labor. This is not something that we can ignore. For every 10% increase in diversity on the senior team, earnings in US companies, so that's the amount of money that they get in, rose by 0.8% in the US and actually 3.5% in UK companies. And employees of a diverse organization are 3.8 times more likely to say that they're proud to work for them. So when we talk about the power of diversity, look at the power of diversity. Look what this can do for you. So what is it that we know then? From what we've discussed so far, what do we actually know? Well, we know that diverse teams outperform others. We've talked about the fact that, we have diversity in teams. We have more creative teams. We have more analytical teams. We have people that have different skills and are able to approach problems in different ways. But We can manage sort of creative tensions. We can manage those differences. And if they're managed correctly, we have better ideas. We've got better innovation. And I've already mentioned the problem solving. And we talked about diverse interpretations as well, about, well, the fact that if I write something down, then it's going to be completely different to if Aubrey writes something down, because we might use the same words, but they'll mean something completely different.
Yeah.
If we've got a diversely equipped group, then, they've got multiple abilities, let's face it. So what about the big organizations then? Well, where do we go wrong? This is where we go wrong. We've talked about the execs, and we've talked about how important it is for the execs to encourage a diverse workplace. But look at what happens when execs don't encourage a diverse workplace. Look at the mistakes that we can make here. If we've got apathetic leadership behaviors, or we don't engage our staff, or we've got badly defined goals, or we've got a lack of clear rewards. All of these can affect our diversity initiatives. But all of these then will put us into that position within an organization where, well, we're not making the most of our customers. We're not making the most of our staff, and we're certainly not attracting more customers. I've got some quotes, and I want to look at inclusivity within all of the major tech companies. So we're going to take a look at Apple first of all. And at Apple, this is the Apple diversity statement. We welcome all voices and all beliefs. They're proud to support US veterans because they bring leadership skills, they bring technical skills, and a spirit of collaboration. You know what I really, really like about this statement is that they've actually called out the specific skills that US veterans can bring to us. So they've called out some specific skills, and I really, really like that, because they haven't just made a blanket statement that says, oh yeah, we want everybody in the organization, but they've actually brought in some specific skills, and they've even published some specific stats as well. So we can see just how diverse they are. 23% Asian workforce within Apple. That seems quite high.
It does.
Yeah, we've got 14% Hispanic, 9% Black, and 50% white. That includes men and women as well. So from globally, they've got 33% women and 67% male. Now, for a tech company, if I take you back to a previous slide where I said for 4 men, there's only 1 woman within IT.
Right.
So actually,
is this higher?
This is doing really well.
Oh, it's doing really well. Okay, yeah.
Well, compared to that 4-to-1 ratio, this is doing really, really well, because that would be down to sort of 25%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So actually, this is doing better than the average. That's Apple. What about Microsoft then? Microsoft want to be deeply inclusive. They want to empower everybody to achieve more. And they believe that having people of diverse backgrounds who are excited to be part of the organization, they believe that that will actually encourage a more creative workplace and encourage people to do their best work. So I've got some stats here for Microsoft. Look at this. This one's focused purely on gender on the left-hand side, and then we've got African Americans in leadership and Hispanic and Latino in leadership as well. So 19.7%, that's a rise of women in leadership in 2018. It's a rise over 2016. The same with African Americans and the same with Hispanic. There's been some rise. Is it where you would say that there was equality there? No. But then we don't know what the general spread of the diversity within Microsoft is, or do we?
Oh, do we?
We do.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that. These are all 2018 statistics, because obviously we're still in the middle of 2019, so I can't get a hold of any of those. But if I look here, you can see what our spread is. Now, unfortunately, when I copied this graphic over, when I got this from Microsoft, the lines didn't line up on that sort of key on the left-hand side. So you're just going to have to bear with me on that one.
It's not that bad.
It's not that bad. But we still got around about 55% white. Mm-hmm. And then the rest of it is made up with, as you can see, with sort of Asian and Hispanic. So actually, we're not, I think that's quite a nice spread. I think they could do better, but it's not bad when compared to sort of our industry average. I've also got some statistics for Cisco, again, another one. And I've singled out Apple and Microsoft and Cisco because we concentrate a lot of our courses on these three tech companies. And so look at Cisco. Cisco have given us a load of bullet points as their diversity statement, their inclusion statement. And they include fair pay as well. And that's something that's in the press as well, which is sort of equality in pay across the gender, which I quite like. And then we've also got here in Cisco, we've got some statistics there. Yeah, look at that though. See, 25% female, 75%.
The 1 to 4, yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah. For every one female, there are 4 male, or 4 to 1, they outnumber. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit better than it could be, but it's still not fantastic, is it? Yeah.
No.
Because I'm just thinking about this, actually, the ratio would be 20%, wouldn't it? So if you've got 4 men and then 1 woman, that's, 20%.
That is 20%.
So it's a little bit better, but it's not
We're not
great.
mathematicians here.
So I've got some statistics from LinkedIn, actually, which is an important one. Now, LinkedIn, they've got a statement, and I was looking at these slides because I know that you and I discussed these slides a little while ago, and you mentioned that you really, really liked something on this particular slide, and that was the... do you remember?
Oh, I see it again, yes. So the Hispanics of LinkedIn Alliance, their acronym is HOLA, which is great. So clever. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great acronym. I absolutely love it. Yeah. But you'll see that this is about LinkedIn as an organization. But the statistics that I have are on the people that are applying for jobs and the people that are in jobs. So they've actually pulled these statistics from those that are registered in LinkedIn. And you'll see that in tech, oh, look at this, just 21.8%. So in tech, only 21.8% are female. But in those that are listed as having non-tech roles, it's the other way around. We've got the majority of female in what we'd consider to be non-tech roles, with 46% of male. And then, of course, we've got that ethnicity spread as well there on the right-hand side. So what does a leadership diversity champion have to do then? Well, what I've got here is just a list of the characteristics that I expect from somebody who is going to champion diversity. How do you improve? How do you get better at diversity within your organization? How do you ensure that you can capture that millennial customer? How do you ensure that you can make the most of the buying powers that are available out there and that you can bring people in? Well, these are the behaviors that you have to demonstrate. You have to provide opportunities for diversity. You have to consistently challenge unacceptable behavior. What about you? What can you do as an individual to bring in diversity in your organization? Well, you can be accountable. You can arrange events like we talked about, having somebody bring in snacks to celebrate Diwali and having somebody bringing in snacks to celebrate Eid, because in Eid we can have snacks.
When we talked about that, I already went to our culture club, which we have here, to make sure that our group at ITProTV is diverse and having fun as a company. And we're going to have a cultural sometime soon with some food. So thank you, Joe, for that.
Oh, excellent. Oh, I'm looking forward to that, as long as you promise to bake.
Of course.
Please.
Yes.
Yeah, because I really, really like that. But we do actually. I mean, we have some fun events when it comes to food as well. We have, we'll have cook-offs, and there was a chicken wing eating competition, wasn't there, last year? I remember that one. Yeah.
That was a good one.
But what else can you do? Well, you can check your workplace policies. And if you see something that you think is maybe not inclusive, if you see something that you think that people will want to run away from, will turn people away, then challenge it. You can make a difference. Take part in a mentoring program. You can mentor others, or you can actually be the mentee. You can learn from others as well. But importantly, this diversity within our organization has got to start with you. You as an individual. Everybody has got to demonstrate those inclusive behaviors. And that's how you become a diverse organization. And that's how you can then, see what that power is in that diversity. Now, I know that Aubrey had mentioned to me that we probably got some questions about this right now.
We do have some questions.
We do.
We have some questions
So
here,
I thought then I would give us a little bit of time to get to some questions. Anything that we don't get to, by the way, I am going to be available in the break between this particular session and our next one with Vaughn. So we can talk a little bit more and I can obviously answer some questions. But what have we got?
Okay, so the first question is from Mike S., and he asks, should we strive for equality of opportunity or equality of outcome?
Oh, well, we should strive for both.
Okay, yeah.
You know, equality, there's a difference between equality and equity, by the way, as well. So, I mean, that's something that you need to be aware of. Equity is about every one of us having the same outcome, no matter what our I was going to say disabilities, and I don't want to use that word, but no matter what our skills and strengths are, then every one of us will have exactly the same outcome. So we should be striving for equity in our outcomes, but we should also be striving for equality in our opportunities.
Yeah.
That would be the best answer I could give you for that.
Okay, well, thank you, Mike, for asking that question. Next, we have Dan K., who asks, I like this one because this is something that we've talked about at great length in the production room. How can introversion and extroversion fit into diversity?
Ooh, well, that goes back to your diverse skills and your attributes and your qualities. You know, the introverted people, I mean, we've got a few in our production team even, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got some very, very sort of quiet, introverted people. And then we've also got some very loud people. You've got me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll hold my hand up to that. But, you know, those that are quiet, that reflect, it quite often, you know, and I shouldn't be surprised, but those that are quiet and that reflect can come up with some amazing innovation. We've got one person in our team who's incredibly shy and who's very quiet, but, you know, he is the most amazing artist. Absolutely amazing. And he's also incredibly intuitive as well. And he is the person that when I first started working with ITProTV, independently to start off with, you know, he is the person that worked with me, and he is actually, as I say, so intuitive. He just kind of fit into my way of working. He was just always there quietly in the background, and yeah, absolutely invaluable person.
Right.
Yeah. Really,
I wonder,
really
I know
amazing.
exactly who you're talking about, but because he's an introvert, we probably shouldn't give him a shout out. But
No, we can't give him a shout out, but we know.
but we know who you are. So third question. Thank you, Dan, for sending in that question. Charlie O asks, how can I show what makes me diverse on my resume?
How can you show what? Oh, I like that question.
Yeah.
How can you show? Well, that's entirely up to you. I mean, and that's kind of a bit of a get out clause, isn't it?
Right.
You know, look at your hobbies. So in the section there where you put your interests, you should always have a section where you put some interests. So you can display any groups that you may be a member of. You can display any networking groups as well. You can also, in your volunteer opportunities, I recommend that everybody puts their volunteer opportunities on their resume or on their CV. And in those volunteer opportunities, if you've been volunteering with certain groups, for instance, then that needs to go on there. So you can demonstrate that diversity there by, you know, just the groups that you volunteer for and just the networking groups that you happen to be a member of. So think about your hobbies, think about your volunteering experience, because you want to ensure that you have experience that actually can enrich who you are, that can enrich your experiences, and they should definitely be listed on your resume, definitely.
Right. That will definitely give you a leg up because most people don't think to put their hobbies on there or their interests, right?
That was one of those things that when I was sort of a kid growing up, people say, "Oh, put your hobbies on your put your hobbies on your CV."
Yeah.
And I would say, "Why do I need to do that?"
That's what I always thought. Yeah.
That's really stupid. However, it's not, because when I'm looking to employ somebody, I want to know what they do in their spare time. It'll tell me a little bit about whether they are an analytical person or whether they are a person who's dedicated, whether they are a person who likes to jump from one thing to the next. If you've got a lot of small initiatives, a lot of sort of, one-off activities that you've done, then maybe you're a person that's incredibly adaptable. So actually listing your hobbies and any voluntary experience that you may have is a really, really useful tool to any potential employer.
All right. Thank you, Charlie O, for that. And then now we have another question from Jessica L. She asks, she says something. Thanks for sharing the tech/non-tech male-female ratios at LinkedIn. Do you feel that is a step in the right direction?
Without understanding the context of that question, it's really difficult to say. When you say a step in the right direction,
I guess.
do you mean that we're actually improving? Because unfortunately,
I think that's what she's saying.
Yeah, all I've really got are just the current statistics from LinkedIn. I didn't actually look at sort of previous years' statistics, so I don't know whether there is an improvement. And by improvement, I mean an increase in diversity, or an even spread across the gender or across the sort of the ethnicity, the ethnicity chart. So I don't know. I can't compare to last year. That's a question that I'd like to come back to a little bit later, though. Maybe sort of, maybe tomorrow morning I can get on with that if I can grab your email address, or maybe, a Twitter account or something.
Yeah.
And I can get back to you and let you know whether that is improving. This is just a one-off statistic, so I can't really tell you whether it's improving or not. I know that some of the statistics that I looked at right at the very beginning, when you see the number of people engaged in tech, that has dropped since sort of the mid-1980s. But whether that's going back upwards again now, given that, we do put a lot of emphasis on diversity because we understand diversity better, I can't tell you whether that's happening, but I can certainly find out for you.
Okay. Jessica, be sure to be out there and look out for Jo. She probably will want to answer that question further. And thank you again for that. And now we have Jake S., who asks, what questions should I ask a potential employer during the interview process to better understand their stance on diversity?
Right. Okay. So you can ask if they've got any. Now, we have a culture club here, but you can ask if they have any culture groups or any, any networking groups available within an organization. I mean, you can come out and just simply ask them, what is your stance? What is your ethical stance on any particular topic? I know that that's something that I get asked a lot from an LGBT perspective, is what is a company's stance on this particular subject and on diversity in general. And don't be afraid to ask, in any interview, and actually tune in tomorrow, because at this time tomorrow, Cherokee and I are going to be doing a session on interview skills. And you should always go into an interview prepared with some questions. And if you don't find anything on a company's website that, embraces diversity in any way, then be sure to ask. Ask what the organizational stance is on diversity, and whether you have any diversity groups or any sort of, any clubs that are available. In fact, I would say most of the major blue chip organizations actually have sort of diversity groups. And you've seen, when you look at Apple and when you look at Microsoft, etc., they actually have groups. And it's not just in the tech organizations either. It's also in other industries too. Some of the small and medium enterprises may not. And yet some of the small, medium enterprises may actually need something. And maybe your next question is, after, do you have anything available, is, would it be possible for me to actually start something? Because that not only shows initiative during your interview, which is a really, really good thing to do, but it also means that, you will get their responses to how they embrace diversity and what they're open to, and really what they'd like to encourage.
Well, thank you so much, Jake S., for that question. That was a great answer, Jo. This is going to be the last question from Katie R. She asks, I am interested in being a diversity captain at my workplace, but I'm scared to talk to management. How do I start the conversation?
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's quite often, it's a feeling sometimes that you get, that you really, really don't know how to broach this.
Yeah.
And you can start off by asking the question. Have a look around the website, have a look around the intranet, and see if there are any diversity, not just champions, but if there are any diversity groups. If there aren't, then go to HR. That's the first place you want to start. Go to the HR and just say to them, you know what, it really would be good for our business. And in fact, show them this particular presentation, show them this segment, and say, it really would be good for our organization to be a more inclusive organization. And I would really like to start maybe a social get together, or maybe it's June at the moment. So, and you mentioned it's Pride Month. So maybe it's the time that we could have maybe a lunchtime, or we could do some sort of event that could actually help promote diversity. And we would really, really, I would really like to do that. I've spoken to a couple of people in the office, and I would be happy to be a champion for this particular subject, for this particular, I don't want to call it a cause, but, I'd be happy to be that diversity champion. And you'll find that, I have not come across an HR team and an HR director that has actually, said no to this, because usually they're really, really happy for somebody to take up and actually sort of, take that flame and run with that.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was our last question. Thank you so much, KDR, for asking that question. Hopefully you get that worked out at your company. That'd be great if you can get going with that. But thank you so much, Jo, for talking with me, talking with everybody out there in the live chat. Thanks for joining us for Live Week, but we're going to throw it back to Dawn and Zach, or maybe just Zach, but we'll see you later.
And I'll see you later.
Thank you for watching ITProTV.